Why is it that the kindest, honestly, the hardest working person you know is probably struggling in some really profound way right now, while the most, unapologetically selfish person, just effortlessly glided into another massive success?
Right, yeah. It's a very real thing.
I mean, we are taught from the dawn of our childhoods that there is, like, a cosmic scoreboard.
Exactly.
We are totally conditioned to believe that if you pay your dues, if you treat others with unwavering decency, if you stand at the back of the line and just patiently wait your turn, the universe is eventually going to reach down and hand you your reward.
That's the promise, yeah.
But then you actually look around. You see people carrying this heavy moral weight of doing everything quote-unquote right-putting in these exhausting hours, biting their tongues, sacrificing their own desires, and they're just constantly hitting these inexplicable walls. They face bizarre setbacks. They're trapped in this endless loop of just trying to survive.
It really is the ultimate paradox of the human experience, and honestly, it breeds a quiet, suffocating resentment. Oh, absolutely.
Because you watch someone who just completely disregards the unspoken social contracts of fairness, right?
Yeah.
Someone who operates with this breathtaking level of audacity and self-interest, and, well, they just seem to inherit the earth.
They do. It's wild.
They accumulate the wealth, they secure all the vital relationships, they enjoy the peace of mind, and it leaves the rest of us lying awake in the dark, wrestling with a really deeply unsettling question.
Which is is the fundamental design of reality inherently unfair?
Exactly. Why does the external world seem to relentlessly punish humility while eagerly rewarding arrogance?
And that paradox is exactly where we are starting today. We are going to completely dismantle the comforting, but, ultimately powerless explanations we have all been fed about how reality operates.
Right, it's time to move past all that.
We are moving way past the commoditized, surface-level wisdom, the intellectual junk food that tells you to just, think positive or be a good person.
Which doesn't actually work when the pressure is on. No, not at all. That advice might soothe the emotional appetite for a fleeting moment, but it offers absolutely zero nutritional value when you're facing a real, actual crisis.
Yeah, you need something solid.
So instead, we are going to expose the raw, esoteric mechanics of universal law. Our goal here is to fundamentally rearrange your understanding of your relationship with reality. We want to show you the actual machinery operating beneath the surface of your life.
To do that, we really have to entirely shift our vantage point.
Okay, how's that?
Well, we have to stop analyzing the symptoms of our lives and start actually examining the root causes.
Right.
It requires walking away from the distractions on the surface and literally stepping directly into the engine room.
I like that. And to visualize this shift, I want you to think about how we normally interact with the world.
Okay.
It feels like being in a massive, crowded movie theater.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, so you walk in, the lights dim, and the film starts rolling. The movie on the screen is your life. It is the number in your bank account, the condition of your physical health, the state of your marriage, your career trajectory.
Everything you experience externally.
Right. Now, what happens when a scene plays out that you absolutely despise? The protagonist, which is you, is backed into a corner.
People usually panic.
Exactly. We tend to stand up in our seats and scream at the canvas. We throw our popcorn at the screen. We try to physically wipe the agonizing image away. We argue with the shadows moving in front of us.
Which, if you think about it, is an exercise in total futility.
Completely.
Because that screen is nothing more than a passive piece of fabric reflecting light.
Right, it's just a reflection.
It has no agency whatsoever. It possesses absolutely no inherent power to alter the narrative of the film.
Exactly. You could scream at that fabric until your lungs give out.
Yeah.
But the plot is totally locked in.
Yeah, the ink is dry, so to speak.
If you actually want to change the story, you cannot do it from the theater seat. You have to turn your back on the screen, walk out of the auditorium, climb the narrow stairs in the back, and physically force your way into the projection booth.
That's where the actual control is.
Yes. You have to swap out the actual reel of film. The screen is the external physical reality we bump into every day. But the projection booth, that is the internal architecture of your mind. And today, we are walking up those stairs.
The projection booth is the perfect metaphor, honestly.
Thanks. I think it really captures it.
Because stepping into that space requires you to completely abandon the curriculum of the masses.
Wait, what do you mean by the curriculum of the masses?
Well, we have to draw a really stark, unyielding boundary between two distinct categories of information.
Okay.
Exoteric knowledge and esoteric knowledge.
Let's clearly define those, because crossing that boundary seems like the prerequisite for everything else we're about to discuss today.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So exoteric knowledge is the outermost layer of understanding.
Like the surface stuff.
Exactly. It is the information strictly designed for the outer circle of society.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of humanity operates entirely within the boundaries of exoteric reality.
Which makes sense, because it's what we're all taught.
Right. This is the conditioning explicitly engineered to maintain the status quo.
Wow. Engineered. That's a strong word.
But it is. It teaches you how to be a highly functional, compliant component in a massive societal machine.
Like pay your taxes, follow the rules, wait in line.
Precisely. It preaches the virtues of working hard, remaining polite, suppressing your desires, and just hoping that an external authority will eventually validate your effort.
Right, that cosmic scoreboard we talked about earlier.
Yeah. It is highly processed, easily digestible, and ultimately it leaves you entirely powerless to dictate your own fate.
It is literally the instruction manual for the movie theater seats.
Yeah. Sit quietly, do not disturb the other patrons, and passively watch whatever is broadcast onto the screen.
That is exactly it. Now, esoteric knowledge is the diametric opposite. Okay, lay it on me.
It is the inner circle understanding, the raw, unfiltered mechanics of creation.
This is the projection booth.
Yes. Only a solitary spark of truth seekers ever manages to engage with this level of reality.
Why so few?
Well, it is crucial to understand that esoteric knowledge is not hidden away by some shadowy, smoke-filled room of conspirators actively trying to keep you down.
It's not a secret society thing?
No, it is hidden in plain sight.
How can it be in plain sight if no one sees it?
Because it requires an entirely different frequency of observation.
Ah.
It demands the terrifying realization that you are the sole operator of the projector.
Terrifying is definitely the right word for it. Let's ground this in our daily experience for a second.
Sure.
If I am just walking down a busy street, I operate on the assumption that I am objectively perceiving reality.
Most people do.
Right. I see the concrete of the sidewalk, the glass of the storefronts, the expressions on the faces of the people passing by. It feels incredibly solid and entirely independent of what I am thinking. Are you saying that objectivity is an illusion?
I am. That feeling of absolute objectivity is perhaps the grandest, most convincing illusion of the entire human experience.
That's a massive claim.
It is, but the mechanism of perception is far more complex than a camera just recording a scene.
Okay, break that down for me.
You do not merely perceive the physical world, you perceive your own level of consciousness.
Wait, I perceive my own consciousness.
Yes, the mind acts as an absolute impenetrable filter.
Impenetrable, so nothing gets past it.
Nothing that isn't a match. At any given moment, the physical space around you contains a vast constellation of frequencies, overlapping possibilities, and simultaneous realities.
Okay, so it's all there right now.
All of it.
Okay.
But your consciousness operates exactly like a receiver tuned to a highly specific station.
Like tuning a radio.
Exactly. If a concept, a profound opportunity, or a radically different reality does not already exist within your internal architecture, it is completely invisible in your external world.
Invisible. Hold on, let me try to visualize this.
Go for it.
If my mind is the ultimate filter, is it like wandering through a sprawling, chaotic, vibrant metropolis, but I happen to have been born wearing a pair of glasses with lenses that strictly filter for the color red?
That is a brilliant way to put it.
So, like, I could be walking right past towering blue billboards, sprawling emerald green parks, vibrant yellow vehicles.
Or right there in front of you.
But because my lenses only allow red wavelengths to pass through, I look around and confidently declare, this entire city is just a monotone, oppressive shade of red.
Yes.
I might even build my entire identity around complaining about how boring and red this city is, utterly blind to the endless tide of other colors just swirling around me.
That captures the mechanism perfectly.
Really? Because it sounds almost ridiculous when you phrase it like that.
But it's true. Because in that scenario, you wouldn't just be expressing an opinion.
Right. To me, it's a fact.
You would argue passionately that the city is objectively red. You would point to physical evidence to back up your claim.
Because everywhere I look, I see red.
Exactly. After all, everything you look at confirms the redness.
Wow.
You would build your entire worldview, your philosophical beliefs, and your daily habits around navigating a completely red environment.
And if someone wearing blue lenses tried to describe the sky to me, I would just dismiss them as delusional.
Because your lived experience, your empirical data, completely validates the red filter.
Right. My reality is rendering as red, so they must be crazy.
Exactly. Your visible spectrum in that metaphor represents a mere fragment of the staggering magnitude of reality that actually exists.
So we are missing almost everything.
We walk through life completely blind to the true vastness of our surroundings. We pass judgment based only on the narrow sliver of existence that aligns with our internal state.
That is wild.
The most profound opportunities for wealth, the most deeply fulfilling relationships, the solutions to our most agonizing problems, they are not locked away in a distant vault.
Where are they?
They are suspended right in front of us, vibrating at a frequency that our current level of consciousness simply cannot decode.
Because we have the wrong glasses on.
They're obscured by our own internal limitations.
So let me get practical with this. If someone is harboring a baseline consciousness of scarcity or chronic fear or like a deep-seated belief in their own unworthiness,
Which a lot of people are.
they're essentially wearing lenses that aggressively filter out every single opportunity for abundance.
Aggressively filtering it out, yes.
I could literally be sitting on a subway car next to the exact person holding the key to their career breakthrough, and their brain's neurological filtering network will just edit that person out of their perceptual field.
Entirely.
Just because interacting with them does not match the internal film reel.
That is the tragic reality of the exoteric perspective.
Man,
If it is not first established in your consciousness, it literally cannot be rendered in your physical world.
I can't even see it.
You can only experience in the external, tangible realm what you have already normalized in your internal, mental realm.
Okay, say that again, because that feels like a core principle.
You can only experience in the external, tangible realm what you have already normalized in your internal mental realm.
Wow.
The world can only hand you what you have already permitted yourself to hold internally.
That is a staggering amount of responsibility.
It is the ultimate responsibility.
It is incredibly heavy because it completely strips away the comfort of playing the victim.
Which is a comfort a lot of people don't want to give up.
Right, because if the entire city looks red to me,
Right.
I can no longer draft angry letters to the mayor or blame the architects or curse the weather.
No, you can't.
I have to do the terrifying work of reaching up and peeling the glasses off my own face.
It is heavy, yes, but you have to realize it is also the only path to true liberation.
Because now I'm in control.
Exactly. When you grasp this, it instantly explains why you can place two individuals in the exact same environment, subject them to the exact same economic pressures, the exact same societal barriers.
And they have completely different outcomes.
Yes. One person perceives a landscape of insurmountable walls, while the other perceives a staircase of stepping stones,
And they're standing in the exact same room.
occupying the identical physical coordinates, but they are inhabiting entirely different universes because their internal filters are rendering two completely different realities.
Okay, this brings us to a massive, critical question.
Let's hear it.
The gap between perception and physical reality.
Mm.
Because it is one thing to acknowledge cognitive bias, to say that my internal state dictates what I happen to notice.
That's psychology.
Right, psychology.
Yeah.
But it is a completely different, much wilder claim to say that my internal state is actually creating the physical objects, the rigid situation, the hard numbers in a bank account.
Yes, that's a big leap.
So how do we leap from a psychological filter to the actual materialization of solid matter?
To bridge that gap, we have to examine the alchemy of consciousness.
Alchemy, I love that word.
We have to completely upend the foundational assumptions we hold about the nature of matter itself.
Okay, let's upend them.
From childhood, we are taught the exoteric model, that physical matter-like atoms, molecules, dense structures is the absolute foundational building block of reality.
Right, the stuff you can knock on.
Exactly. We are taught that consciousness is just this ghostly, ephemeral byproduct of biological neurons firing in the brain.
Like, the physical world is the hard, objective truth, and the mental world is just the imagination.
A secondary, less real phenomenon.
Right.
But the esoteric truth, the raw mechanic of existence, reveals the exact opposite.
The exact opposite.
Everything in the physical realm, without exception, is simply a physical expression of a mental creation.
Wait, everything?
Everything. Consciousness, which we can conceptualize as pure information or pure formless light and physical matter, are not separate substances.
They aren't.
No. They are the exact same material, merely vibrating at entirely different intensities.
Let me make sure I am grasping the sheer magnitude of this.
Take your time.
You are suggesting that the table I am leaning on right now, the microphone capturing my voice, the literal, tangible circumstances of my life are not somehow separate from my mind.
They are not separate.
They are my mind, just condensed.
Exactly.
Like, okay, think about water, invisible water vapor, flowing liquid water, and a solid block of ice. They look completely different, they act completely differently, but they're all chemically identical H2O, just experiencing different thermal states.
A flawless parallel.
Wow.
Physical matter is simply consciousness that has slowed its vibration down to a density that can be perceived and manipulated by our 5 physical senses.
It's slowed down, so it's heavy.
Yes. This means the physical world is the absolute end of the line, not the origin point.
The end of the line.
It is the exhaust pipe of reality.
Exhaust pipe. That is such a vivid image.
It is the final, crystallized, slow-moving result of a dynamic process that began long before you could reach out and touch it.
The end of the line. That really reframes everything. So reality materializes through a specific sequence, a pipeline, essentially.
It is a highly specific, immutable, mechanical pipeline.
Walk me through the pipeline. Where does it start?
It begins in the formless realm as an internal concept.
Like a thought.
A fleeting thought, a sudden idea, a spark of pure information.
Okay, I have thousands of those a day.
But a thought operating in isolation is sterile.
Sterile.
Yeah.
Meaning it doesn't create anything on its own.
Exactly. It lacks the power to condense into matter.
So what's the missing ingredient?
That thought must be combined with an emotional equivalence.
Emotion.
You have to infuse it with feeling. When a thought is married to a deep emotion, it generates a highly specific, measurable frequency.
Okay, so thought plus emotion equals frequency.
Yes. And if that internal frequency is maintained with focus, it begins to gather density.
That starts getting heavier.
It acts as an energetic magnet, pulling corresponding circumstances, coincidences, and materials toward it.
I see.
And eventually, when that frequency reaches a point of critical mass, it collapses out of the invisible realm and crystallizes into a hard physical experience.
Let's try to map this onto a tangible process, because it's a lot to hold in the mind.
Let's do it.
It sounds like trying to fix a typo on a computer.
Okay, I'm following.
Say you sit down at a computer to type out a critical document. The digital information on your screen, the software code processing your keystrokes, that represents the realm of consciousness.
Yes.
It is highly malleable, it is weightless, it is purely informational.
It can be changed in a second.
Right. Then you execute the print command, the data rushes through the cables, the machinery interprets the code, and a physical piece of paper slides out of the tray with wet ink permanently pressed into it.
The physical manifestation.
Exactly. That printed paper is the physical manifestation. It is the dense, crystallized expression of the digital code.
Yes. The physical paper is the absolute end of the line.
Okay, so imagine you pick up that freshly printed page, you scan it, and you spot a massive glaring typo in the very first headline.
A ruinous mistake.
Yes, a ruinous mistake. What is the logical next step?
Well, normally you'd fix it.
Right, but how? Do you grab a bottle of thick white correction fluid, aggressively paint over the ink on the physical paper, meticulously draw the correct letter in with a ballpoint pen, and then sit back, fully expecting the digital file inside your computer to magically rewrite itself to match your physical edits?
That would be absurd.
It would be.
It completely defies the directional flow of the mechanism. The paper cannot dictate the code.
It's madness. Or picture an even more unhinged scenario.
Oh, boy.
Taking that bottle of correction fluid and smearing it directly onto your glowing computer monitor.
Just painting the glass.
Violently scratching at the glass screen, trying to physically force the pixels to change shape by applying external pressure.
It hurts to even think about.
Because if you actually want to fix the typo permanently, you have to turn away from the printed page.
You have to go to the source.
You have to go back into the source software, locate the error in the invisible digital code, delete the keystroke, alter the internal data, and then hit print again.
And then the new physical page will flawlessly reflect the updated internal code.
Flawlessly.
And yet, scratching furiously at the monitor is exactly how the overwhelming majority of humanity exhausts their entire lives.
Oh man, that is so true.
They look out at the physical world. They look at a bank balance that terrifies them, a relationship that is crumbling, a career that feels like a prison cell, which is, again, the printed paper.
Right.
They perceive a physical reality they despise, and they try to alter it by desperately manipulating the physical components.
So just work harder.
They grind through 80-hour work weeks. They engage in bitter arguments with their partners. They try to force and wrestle the external pieces into a new configuration.
They are trying to rewrite the physical world without ever altering the internal frequency that generated it.
They are scratching at the glass.
They're scratching at the glass.
Yes, and it produces nothing but profound exhaustion, endless frustration, and a damaged monitor.
Because they're working backwards.
If you wish to change the tangible elements that are made manifest in your life, you must first change the unseen light.
The source code.
You must alter the baseline consciousness. The physical expression is nothing more than a trailing indicator, a delayed echo of your internal mental architecture.
This shifts the power dynamics so violently.
It really does.
Because it strips all the authority away from the external world and hands it directly, heavily, back to the individual.
You become the sole author.
If every single circumstance around you is simply the outward projection of an internal spark, then true reality architecture is a strictly internal job.
Strictly.
You do not need the economy's permission or your boss's permission or society's permission to alter your trajectory. You just have to rewrite the source code in the projection booth.
This is exactly where we encounter massive internal resistance, though.
Why? Because people don't want to believe it's their fault.
Because if we accept this premise, it forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality of our own internal landscapes.
Right.
If we are genuinely the ones operating the printing press of our reality, it brings us crashing back to your original opening paradox.
Ah, the good person who struggles.
Yes. Why on earth do inherently, quote-unquote, good, kind, hardworking people consistently print out agonizing scenarios of struggle, heartbreak, and suffering?
Why would anyone write a source code of misery?
Exactly. That is the friction point.
If I'm a decent person who wants a peaceful, abundant life, but I keep printing out a life of endless friction, how does that make sense? Why is the nice person printing tragedy while the selfish person is printing triumph?
To unravel this, we have to completely dismantle what is arguably the most deeply ingrained, culturally reinforced, and universally accepted trap in the history of human conditioning.
What's the trap?
We can call it the morality trap.
The morality trap. Okay, explain that.
For the entirety of our lives, we have been vigorously conditioned to believe that the organizing force of the universe operates much like a strict, judgmental parent.
Or like a teacher grading a test.
Or perhaps a benevolent monarch keeping watch from above. We are taught that if we are good, which society defines as being endlessly polite, entirely self-sacrificing, exceedingly humble, and unquestioningly obedient.
Basically not making any waves.
Right. If we do that, this cosmic parent will look down, recognize our moral purity, and reward us with external blessings.
And conversely, if we are bad, if we are selfish, loud, arrogant, or disruptive, we will be karmically punished.
That's the myth.
Wait, if the universe is entirely impersonal, as you were suggesting, you're stripping away the foundational idea of cosmic justice.
I am.
That is terrifying for someone who has relied their entire life on the belief that their quiet sacrifices and good deeds will eventually finally be rewarded.
It shakes the foundation of everything they believe.
Are you saying that empathy, kindness, and morality have absolutely no inherent value in the mechanics of reality?
Huh?
Are we blaming people for their own suffering?
That is the most common and intense pushback this knowledge receives.
I can imagine.
Let us separate moral philosophy from the mechanics of creation.
Okay, let's separate them.
Empathy, kindness, and community are essential for internal harmony, for societal cohesion, and for the law of circulation. It feels vastly better to be a kind person than a cruel one.
Of course.
However, we are discussing the raw mechanics of materializing physical outcomes.
The actual physics of it.
And the uncomfortable, earth-shattering truth is this.
I'm bracing myself.
The organizing force of reality is an entirely impersonal energy.
Impersonal.
It is a universal law, completely and utterly devoid of human concepts of morality, pity, judgment, or fairness.
So it literally doesn't care.
It operates with the exact same cold, perfect, mechanical indifference as electricity or gravity.
Gravity doesn't care if you are a saint or a sinner.
Exactly. Think about the nature of fire.
Fire.
Fire is a magnificent impersonal energy. If you understand the laws of combustion and thermodynamics, you can harness fire to warm your home through the winter, to cook your meals, to forge steel, and to power immense engines.
It's incredibly useful.
Fire will serve you beautifully and relentlessly. But if you ignore those physical laws and blindly stumble into the flames, fire will burn you to ashes.
Right.
Fire does not pause for a fraction of a second to evaluate your moral character before deciding whether to burn your skin.
It doesn't check your resume.
It does not look at you and say, this person volunteers every weekend at the local shelter. I will suspend my heat and not burn their hand.
That sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud.
Fire merely reacts with perfect mathematical precision to how you interact with its energetic properties.
It's entirely neutral. It just is.
It is purely reactive. Electricity functions the exact same way.
Right, it doesn't care who you are.
It will power the life-saving equipment in a hospital, or it will instantly electrocute you if you grab a live wire. It does not judge the victim.
Okay, so applying this to reality.
The universal law of manifestation operates identically. It does not maintain a cosmic ledger or a scoreboard of your good deeds.
So no gold stars.
It does not factor in how much you have suffered or how patiently you have waited. It simply acts as a flawless, impartial, unyielding mirror, reflecting whatever core frequency you are currently emitting.
Hold on. If we follow that logic, are we saying that someone who gets laid off from their job or faces a sudden health crisis or loses their home subconsciously printed that reality because they felt unworthy?
I know where you're going with this.
Because that sounds dangerously close to blaming people for the tragedies that befall them.
It is vital to draw a sharp line between conscious moral blame and unconscious mechanical reflection.
Okay, clarify that line.
No one consciously sits down and decides to manifest a layoff or an illness. We're not talking about conscious desire. We are talking about subconscious programming.
So it's happening beneath the surface.
Many good people, despite their polite behavior and kind actions in the exoteric world, harbor incredibly deep, generations-old frequencies of unworthiness.
Where do they get those frequencies?
They have been conditioned by their parents, their culture, and their environment to feel that they must constantly earn their right to exist.
Oh, wow.
They practice extreme, self-effacing humility. They are terrified of taking up too much space, of making too much noise, of firmly demanding what they desire.
Like they're apologizing just for being here.
Exactly. They emit a constant, low-grade vibration of, I am small, I am not enough, I must sacrifice my own joy to be considered a good person.
And the impersonal universe, acting merely as the perfect, unjudging mirror, receives that precise frequency of lack and smallness.
It just reads the data.
It doesn't see a good person. It just responds, message received, printing physical conditions that perfectly match the frequencies of smallness, lack, and sacrifice.
Precisely. The universe flawlessly mirrors that subconscious self-diminishment by materializing conditions of financial scarcity, exploitative relationships, and constant struggle.
Man, that is brutal.
The universe is not punishing them for being good. The internal frequency of unworthiness.
The reflection matches the projector.
Always.
So let's flip the script and look at the bad person from our original paradox.
The selfish person.
Right. The selfish, arrogant individual who completely ignores the rules but keeps winning. Why do they win?
Well, if we strip away the moral judgment, it isn't because the universe actively rewards evil behavior.
Okay.
It is because that person, despite their complete lack of conventional morality or empathy, might happen to hold an unshakable, massive internal certainty about their own value.
Wow. They just believe they deserve it.
They possess absolute, unwavering confidence. They do not harbor a single shred of doubt regarding their right to possess exactly what they want.
They view themselves as powerful.
Powerful, capable, and entirely deserving of success.
Yes, they hold a pure, undistorted, highly concentrated frequency of power and entitlement.
Exactly. And the impersonal law simply reads that intense frequency.
Which just measures the intensity.
Yeah. It registers the absolute absence of internal doubt, the sheer density of their conviction, and it mechanistically materializes success, wealth, and opportunity to match it.
The universe does not care if their ego is inflated or if they're unpleasant at dinner parties.
Not even a little bit. It only cares that their frequency is intensely and unequivocally aligned with their desired outcome.
It is like we have been spending our entire existence trying to bribe gravity.
That is exactly what we've been doing.
We honestly thought if we were just polite enough, if we held the door for enough strangers, if we never spoke out of turn and always apologized for our presence, gravity would look favorably upon us.
We really did.
We thought gravity would say, oh, they're such a good person, let's suspend the laws of physics for a moment so they don't get hurt when they fall off this ladder.
Which is mathematically impossible.
But this mechanical principle dictates that the universe measures the intensity and alignment of your conviction not the purity of your ethics.
It is a staggering realization that shatters the ego. You cannot purchase your desired reality using heaven points, or karma tokens, or societal gold stars.
So what's the currency?
You can only manifest your desired reality by energetically occupying the specific frequency that corresponds to that reality. Your frequency is the solitary currency the universal mirror recognizes.
Okay, so how does this actually play out in the messy reality of our daily lives?
That is the big question.
Because it is one thing to sit here, engaged in a fascinating philosophical dialogue, and intellectually agree that reality is just a mirror of our internal state.
Sure, theory is easy.
But then the show ends, we walk outside, we check our banking app, and the number staring back at us is terrifyingly low.
A very real scenario for a lot of people.
We look in the bathroom mirror and see the physical symptoms of stress or illness. We go to work and face a boss who is actively hostile. The physical world is not a subtle illusion. It is incredibly convincing, dense, loud, and often intensely painful.
It demands your attention.
Right. So how do we navigate the sheer overwhelming weight of the physical evidence when it directly contradicts the reality we want to build?
This is the crux of mastery. This is exactly where theory must become practice.
Okay, lay out the practice for me.
To navigate this, you must fundamentally understand the illusion of delay.
The illusion of delay.
We established earlier that the physical world is the absolute end of the line, the printed piece of paper.
Right, the exhaust pipe.
What you must internalize is that your present physical reality, the environment you are standing in right this second, is a historical artifact.
A historical artifact. You mean it belongs to the past?
Yes.
Explain the physics of that. How is my right now actually my past?
It means that the tangible circumstances you are experiencing right now are not actually the present moment. They are the delayed, crystallized manifestation of who you used to be.
Who I used to be.
They are the physical exhaust of the thoughts, emotions, and frequencies you were actively emitting weeks, months, or eras ago.
So there's a lag time.
Physical reality is incredibly dense. It possesses inertia.
Like trying to turn a massive cargo ship.
Exactly. It requires a passage of time for the weightless, invisible light of consciousness to slow its vibration down sufficiently to become a solid, immovable event.
So when I look at a deeply frustrating circumstance in my life today, I am not looking at my present truth.
Don't you,
I am basically looking at an old photograph of my past mind.
Yes, you are viewing the fossilized remains of your past frequency.
Fossilized remains.
But here is the greatest trap of human existence, the psychological cycle that keeps the overwhelming majority of people perpetually stuck in lives of quiet desperation.
What's the trap?
We call it the projection-perception loop.
Projection-perception loop. How does it work?
It functions like a closed circuit. You perceive a frustrating circumstance in your life. Let's use the example of receiving a massive unexpected financial bill in the mail.
Okay, I hate those.
We all do. That piece of paper is a projection of your past frequency of financial fear or lack, but what is the automatic human response?
You hold the bill, you perceive it as a present, immediate, objective threat to your survival, and you react to it emotionally.
My nervous system floods with cortisol. I feel terror, defeat, anger, and panic.
Exactly.
I am reading the typo on the printed paper, and I am letting the typo dictate my heart rate.
Precisely. And by reacting emotionally to this past echo, what are you doing mechanically in the projection booth?
I'm generating more of it.
You are actively generating a brand new, highly intense, negative internal frequency in the present moment.
Oh, wow.
The universe, acting merely as the impersonal mirror, captures this fresh frequency of panic and terror, and it immediately begins the mechanical process of scheduling more frustrating, terrifying, expensive circumstances for your future.
So it's an endless cycle.
You perceive the shadow of your past, you become terrified of that shadow, and the intensity of your fear guarantees a new shadow will be cast tomorrow.
That is horrifying.
You become hopelessly trapped in a closed loop, constantly reacting to the echoes of your own historical artifacts.
It's exactly like looking up at the night sky. Tell me more about that.
We understand the astrophysics of it, right? That the light radiating from a distant star requires the passage of eras to travel across the infinite vacuum of space before it finally reaches our retinas.
Right. It takes a long time.
By the time you actually witness that twinkling light, the star itself might have undergone a supernova and burned out millennia ago. It no longer exists.
It's completely gone.
But if you stand in your backyard, stare at the light of that dead star, and allow its cold distance to dictate your emotional state today, If you sink into a profound depression because the universe looks so vast and you feel so insignificant, you are literally allowing a ghost, an optical illusion of the past, to control your present neurochemistry and your current frequency.
That is a brilliant translation of the concept.
It makes it so clear.
When you panic over your current bank account or your current physical limitations, you are allowing the fossilized light of a dead star to act as the engine of your present consciousness.
So how do we stop? If you truly wish to break this loop, to sever the circuit, what do?
You must cultivate a discipline we refer to as Mindsight or inner vision.
Mindsight. The capacity to see with the mind's eye, deliberately overriding the input from the physical retinas.
Yes. True mastery of these esoteric mechanics requires the superhuman discipline to stubbornly maintain the internal frequency of your desired reality, despite what the external physical world is temporarily screaming at you.
So ignoring the fire alarm.
In a way, yes. It is the profound ability to hold that terrifying, unexpected bill in your hands, to look directly at the dead star and consciously declare, I acknowledge that this physical paper is a shadow cast by my past consciousness, but it holds no authority over my present truth.
You just deny its power.
You must completely and utterly starve the old reality of your emotional reaction.
You have to withdraw your emotional funding.
I love that phrase, yes.
You bankrupt the old reality by refusing to invest your panic into it.
That is exactly how the mechanism works. If you cease reacting to the physical illusion, you cease generating the specific frequency that is structurally sustaining it.
So it collapses.
Without the constant infusion of your emotional life force feeding it, the old reality eventually, inevitably, dissolves. It crumbles because its architectural support has been removed.
While you're building the new one.
Meanwhile, because your new internal frequency is firmly anchored in abundance or peace or success, the impersonal mirror of the universe is already busy printing the new reality, which will eventually gather enough density to collapse into your physical experience.
Okay, I have to push back here.
Go ahead.
Because what you are describing requires an almost impossible level of psychological discipline.
It is not easy, I admit that.
We are biologically, fundamentally wired through millions of years of evolution to react instantly to threats in our physical environment.
That's our survival instinct.
Our survival mechanisms, our adrenaline responses, our entire nervous system screams at us to fight the physical environment, to force outcomes, to panic, and take immediate action when things look dangerous.
It feels very urgent.
If I am broke and my mortgage is due in 3 days, sitting in stillness on my living room floor is not going to physically stop the bank from initiating foreclosure. How do we actually embody this mindsight and break the loop when every cell in our body is demanding that we react?
This is where the theoretical philosophy really collides with the gritty reality of application.
Yes, exactly.
And it requires surrendering the very tool we have been taught to rely on above all others.
Which is what?
The ego.
The ego.
You have to undergo the humbling process of recognizing the absolute impotence of your physical avatar.
The impotence of the avatar. That phrasing hits hard.
It's meant to.
It strips away a lot of pride.
It is a necessary dismantling of pride. The physical version of you, your ego, your 5 senses, your logic, your highly analytical brain, is completely and utterly incapable of manipulating the fabric of reality through sheer physical force.
So my brain can't fix it.
The ego is a wonderful, necessary tool designed to navigate the dense physical world, to avoid immediate physical danger, to categorize sensory input so you can cross the street safely.
But it's not a creator.
Exactly. It does not possess the capacity to originate reality. When you attempt to force an outcome, when you hustle until you burn out, when you try to mentally manipulate others, when you stress and grind to make something happen in the physical domain, you are attempting to lift a mountain using a pair of plastic tweezers.
You are back to violently scratching at the computer monitor.
Precisely. The ego must learn to step aside to allow the infinite, impersonal intelligence within the actual projector to perform the heavy lifting of arranging the circumstances.
So we have to get out of our own way.
The true, limitless power resides entirely in the internal dimension, not the physical one.
But getting there seems so tricky.
It is, and here we encounter a massive psychological paradox that traps almost all truth seekers.
What's the paradox?
We call it the paradox of wanting.
The paradox of wanting. I feel like this is exactly where the mainstream interpretations of manifestation completely fall apart.
They absolutely do.
Because the exoteric version of manifestation just tells people to want something really, really badly, to make vision boards and crave the outcome.
And craving is the exact opposite of how the mechanical pipeline actually functions.
Really? Explain that.
Let us analyze the frequency of desire. When you declare to the universe, infused with intense, desperate emotion, I want peace, or I desperately want to be wealthy, what data are you actually communicating to the impersonal mirror?
What's the underlying frequency?
Exactly. What is the underlying frequency of that statement?
Well, if I say I want it, the unavoidable underlying assumption is that I do not currently possess it.
Yes. The core foundational frequency of wanting is lack.
Because I don't have it.
It is a declaration of separation. You are stating definitively and emotionally, I currently do not have peace. I am currently entirely separated from wealth.
And the mirror just reflects what I show it?
Yeah. The universe, acting as the flawless, unjudging mirror, reads that core frequency of separation and lack, and it perfectly reflects it back to you.
It says, okay, you lack wealth. Here is more lack.
It mechanistically generates circumstances that guarantee you remain in a perpetual state of wanting.
Oh, man.
It manifests more chaos, more unexpected expenses, more reasons for you to continue yearning for the peace and wealth you do not have.
That is so counterintuitive, but it makes so much sense.
You absolutely cannot receive externally what you have not first generated and possessed internally.
You cannot attract what you are not. You have to match the vibration.
Exactly. You must become the peace. You must occupy the frequency of the wish fulfilled before there is a shred of physical evidence to support it.
Before it happens.
Therefore, the ultimate technique of creation is not frantic, panicked action. It is absolute stillness.
Stillness. In a society that worships the grind, that sounds deeply counterintuitive.
It goes against everything we're taught.
We are conditioned to believe that frantic action is the only currency of progress.
Exoteric action is frantic, fear-based, and exhausting. Esoteric action is born entirely out of stillness.
So what does that stillness look like in practice?
The process of creation involves deliberately silencing the frantic external senses, shutting out the deafening noise of the physical illusion, and entering a profound, unshakable internal silence.
Okay, I'm quiet. Then what?
In the depth of that silence, you meticulously align your mental and emotional states to perfectly match the reality you seek.
You generate the feeling.
You cultivate the exact physiological feelings of relief, profound gratitude, and absolute certainty that you would naturally feel if your desire were already a hardened physical fact.
So true reality architecture isn't about visualizing a pile of money so hard that it magically pops into existence on your living room rug.
Not at all.
It's about shifting your internal state to such a profound, unshakable equilibrium that you are literally no longer emotionally dependent on seeing the physical world change.
That is it.
Because internally, in the only realm where creation actually occurs, you have already arrived. You already possess it.
That is the pinnacle of mastery.
Right.
When you reach a state where you are no longer desperate for the external change, you have successfully collapsed the energetic space between you and your desire.
The lack has been extinguished.
The lack is gone, and it is in that precise moment of detachment that the dense physical world is forced by the immutable laws of physics to rearrange itself to reflect your new internal state.
Okay, I have to play the role of the skeptical listener here again.
Let's hear the skepticism.
Let's bring this all the way down to earth. This is a beautifully poetic framework.
Thank you.
The universe is a mirror. I need to cultivate stillness. The physical world is just a delayed echo of a dead star. It all sounds great.
Yeah.
But tomorrow morning, my alarm is still going to go off at 6 a.m.
Yes, it is.
I still have to commute to a job I might actively despise.
Yeah.
I still have to pay the mortgage, or the bank will literally take my house.
Real-world pressures?
Exactly. Are you genuinely suggesting that I just sit in a lotus position in silence on my floor, completely ignore my physical responsibilities, and passively wait for the universe to print a brand new life for me?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good, because that sounds crazy.
That is the most dangerous misinterpretation of esoteric knowledge, and it leads directly to ruin.
So what are we supposed to do?
We are not advocating for physical inaction, laziness, or the abdication of your tangible responsibilities. We are advocating for a completely different quality of action.
A different quality. What do you call it?
We differentiate this by calling it inspired action.
Inspired action versus forced action. Break down the difference in a practical scenario for me. Say I need a new job.
Let us use that exact scenario.
Okay.
Forced action is driven by the frequency of terror. You look at your dwindling bank account, you panic, and you spend 12 hours frantically blasting out hundreds of poorly tailored resumes.
I've been there.
You go to interviews radiating desperation, practically begging them to hire you. You are trying to force the external world to save you.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Inspired action, on the other hand, begins in the projection booth.
The internal work.
First, you cultivate the internal stillness. You anchor yourself in the absolute certainty that the perfect role is already yours. You generate the feeling of relief and satisfaction.
Like you already signed the offer letter.
Exactly. Then, while resting firmly in that frequency, you open your laptop.
You still do the physical work.
You still apply for jobs. You still handle your physical responsibilities. You chop wood and carry water, as the ancient proverbs suggest. But your internal emotional anchor is completely detached from the drama of the outcome.
You are walking through the movie theater, playing your assigned part on the screen. But you possess the quiet confidence of knowing you have already swapped the reel upstairs in the projection booth.
That's beautifully put.
You know the ending of the film has already been altered, so you do not panic when the current scene looks bleak.
Beautifully articulated. You perform the necessary physical tasks, but you do them with the internal frequency of an emperor, not a terrified slave.
That shifts everything.
When you act from a baseline frequency of absolute certainty and profound peace, the actions you take in the physical world transform.
How do they change?
They become highly efficient, deeply intuitive, and incredibly magnetic.
Magnetic.
You naturally gravitate toward the right opportunities without forcing them. During an interview, you speak with quiet authority rather than desperation.
Because you aren't begging.
Exactly. You make decisions that seamlessly align with your new reality. The physical action feels almost effortless because it is being supported and guided by the infinite intelligence of the universe rather than being forcefully dragged forward by an exhausted, terrified ego.
This entire exploration completely rewires how we must view our own potential.
It demands a complete paradigm shift.
When we weave all of these distinct elements together, the esoteric knowledge, the realization that our minds are the ultimate filters, the alchemy of transmuting consciousness into matter, the cold reality of the impersonal law, the illusion of the delayed echo, and the immense power of internal stillness over frantic action.
It's a lot to process, I know.
It paints a picture of human existence that is simultaneously incredibly demanding and boundlessly liberating.
It demands an absolute, radical level of personal responsibility.
Radical responsibility.
You can no longer luxuriate in the comfort of playing the victim. You can no longer blame the macroeconomic climate, the flaws in your upbringing, or the perceived unfairness of the universe.
It's all on you now.
But in exchange for accepting that massive, heavy responsibility, you are granted the ultimate prize.
Which is what?
Absolute authority over your own lived experience.
Wow. We are not helpless victims being tossed around by an unfair, chaotic world.
Not at all.
We're not hostages trapped in a movie theater where a cruel, invisible entity is operating the projector.
We hold the keys to the booth.
We are the architects. We are walking through the physical halls built by our own past thoughts. When we finally summon the courage to strip away the exoteric illusions, the false, comforting lies that the universe is judging us, testing us, or punishing us based on some arbitrary moral scale, we step into a massive, quiet, unshakable power.
We finally stop trying to change the reflection in the mirror by violently breaking the glass.
And we learn to simply change the expression on our own faces.
Exactly. By mastering the internal frequency and embracing the impersonal, highly responsive nature of reality, the concept of human potential stops being a motivational catchphrase and becomes entirely mathematically limitless.
Limitless.
The only barrier that has ever existed is the limitation of your own consciousness.
I want to leave you with a concrete framework to mull over as you step away from this conversation and walk back into the dense reality of your day.
It's a good thought experiment.
The next time you encounter a stubborn, deeply frustrating wall in your life, whether it is a terrifying financial barrier, a bitter conflict in a relationship, or a daunting health scare, I want you to pause before you tense your muscles.
Just take a beat.
Pause before your nervous system floods with panic, before you brace yourself for the impact, and before you start screaming at the movie screen.
Breathe.
Take one deep breath. Deliberately step out of the theater seat and into the projection booth of your own mind, and ask yourself a singular question.
And that question is
Is the wall standing in front of me actually solid and permanent? Or am I merely looking at a lingering shadow, the fossilized light of a dead star, cast by a past version of myself that no longer exists?
Powerful.
Choose not to fund that shadow with your present anxiety, and watch how quickly the physical world is forced to bend to your new light.